Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we're going to be working from the Poole's Diner cookbook again, still trying to use up some buttermilk, and we found this rose fin apple potatoes with shaved celery, buttermilk, and dill recipe here we're going to use. It's basically potato salad, but different. We could not find the rose fin apple variety, but she says it's like a combination of Yukon Gold and red potatoes. We had these fingerling potatoes that I think are like Yukon Golds that we got from our produce box. We're gonna use those. We have a couple of Yukon Golds to make up the right amount. The first thing we gotta do is slice the potatoes. We're not going to peel them, but we're going to slice them into 1/8 inch coins, basically, with the skin intact. I'll probably cut off the ends, especially where they're a little, yucky, and not use that part, and then just cut them. I'm gonna put them in this colander because the next thing we do is rinse them. If you can hear or if the lights flicker, it has just started raining here a lot. So, summer in North Carolina, this happens all the time. Lighting guy was not happy about it. But so I'm gonna cut these in 1/8 inch slices, coins. She says you could use a mandolin. I am not that confident in my ability to choose the thickness on my mandolin. I usually just use it when I want things really, really thin. So I'm going to do this with a knife and do my best. All right, so we've rinsed our potatoes and we've cut them all up, rinsed them. They're in the pot, big pot. We're gonna add some apple cider vinegar. This will apparently help it not fall apart when you cook it. Got quite a lot of kosher salt. And now I'm gonna add 3 quarts of water. And then we're going to bring these to a boil over high heat, reduce it to a simmer, and boil it until they are just done. She says 20 to 25 minutes. They shouldn't be falling apart, but they should be tender, and the skin should stay on. With as thin as these are, I'm a little concerned about that. But we'll be back and show you what it's like when those are done. Just a second. I'm gonna add the water. So now, while my potatoes are cooking, I'll probably have to go over there and turn it down because they haven't quite come up to a boil yet. I'm gonna chop up the herbs and make the sauce, basically the dressing for our potato salad. I have some green onions here, and these need to be finely chopped. So I'm gonna slice them and then just sort of run my knife through them until I think they are finely chopped. And I'm gonna put them just in the bowl that I'm gonna put everything together in when I'm done. And I've got a measuring cup to sort of guide myself, make sure I'm not over or under doing the green onion. If I have too much, I can always use it for something else. No, it's really yucky. All right, now let's measure this. I think it's probably about half a cup, but if it's not, I do have more, and it looks like I will need more. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna get probably 1 more green onion and mince it up and add it to that. But I think that will be enough. All right, he was right. It was basically a whole bunch of green onions. Which means I'm not sure I'm gonna have enough dill, but because we need about half of that in chopped dill. So I'm gonna pull off the stems, the big stems, but otherwise I don't really care. Okay. Once again, finely chopped fresh dill. Okay, so I'm gonna call this enough dill. That's basically all I've got. Try to get as much out off of my board and into the bowl. Okay. Now I'm gonna clean up a little bit and gather the rest of the ingredients for my dressing. So I've gathered the rest of the ingredients that I need now for basically the dressing for the potato salad. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So we have the Countertop Creme Fraiche, which we have made previously, and I just made a fresh batch. So this is the Countertop Creme Fraiche, which you make with just heavy cream and buttermilk, and we've made it before. I will link that below and hopefully up there. So you could also use sour cream. I might let this go a little bit longer on the countertop just because it's still a little bit thin, but it's fine for this. And I need something to mix this with. And I forgot the Dijon mustard. All right, and so there's that. And the other thing that we've made before that I haven't, that I'll put a link here and probably below, is the basic cider mayo. I made this with the immersion blender. I'm pretty sure I did that for one of the mayos from here, one of the recipes. I just made that a few minutes ago. So there we go. All right, we have, she says sea salt. I'm just gonna use my kosher salt. I have some sea salt, but whatever. We will put all this away and clean those spoons in just a minute. We also have buttermilk, quite a lot of buttermilk. This seems like it's gonna be a relatively thin sauce because there is so much buttermilk, but there we go. All the buttermilk. And then we have some Dijon mustard. I hope I'll be able to get enough out of there. We'll see. That's fine. Okay, that's good. So, and now this is the part that I was dreading the most. I have to microplane a shallot. Not a fan at all of grating any kind of onion, and this is going to suck, but you get to watch. Be right back. All right, so I have one shallot. It's kind of a big one. It was my last one, so we'll get as much as we can out of this. We're just, luckily I have never actually hurt myself that badly on a microplane, because if I was going to, I would. My husband says now it's all Murphy's Law. I have said that, so I'm going to hurt myself. That's all right, I'm getting a tetanus shot tomorrow anyway. Now, she didn't tell me that I had to do this. It's salty. But it's gonna go over the potatoes. The potatoes need salt, and hopefully it'll be fine. She didn't tell me I have to do this over the bowl, but I decided that I was going to. However, the next step is to microplane the zest off of a lemon, and you are supposed to do that over the bowl so you don't lose any of the lemon oils. Onions fall apart when you try to microplane them because onions have layers, and those layers like to fall apart, as we have already seen, potentially into your bowl. Now, do this over the bowl. I think all of the zest, but you want to, not get any of the white part, just the lovely yellow bits. All right. All right, so I'm gonna mix that up. And now there's one other thing we can add at this point. Yes, I'm messy. One other thing we can add at this point that I've already sliced up. So earlier I thinly sliced this celery and just put it in the refrigerator in a bag so I wouldn't have to do it later. I think she says paper thin, so some of them are not so paper thin, but it's the best I can do. So we're just gonna mix this up together, and when our potatoes are done and cool, we will add them to this. So what I'm gonna do is just put this in the refrigerator until our potatoes are done. And looks like they've got about less than 2 minutes. So basically it took us about the same amount of time to put this together as it did for the potatoes to cook. So I'm gonna put this in the refrigerator, and when we get the potatoes out, we're going to drain them and put them on a baking sheet to cool, spread out on a baking sheet to cool. And we'll be back with you when that's all done. Our potatoes were done, and I drained them, but did not rinse them. She makes a point, do not rinse them. And then I just put them on this baking sheet to cool to room temperature. They are cool now. And so I've got the dressing that we made, and I'm just going to put all of these potatoes into the dressing. Hopefully not too much extra water. They did keep their texture, like she says something about how the vinegar will let them keep a snappy texture, and they really did. They are definitely done. A fork goes through them with no problem, even the biggest, thickest ones that I cut, but, and you can definitely taste the vinegar on the potatoes, which hopefully will go well with the dish, but we'll see. All right, got all the potatoes in there. And now we're just going to sort of fold them into the dressing with the celery and everything. And before I fold everything perfectly, I'm gonna give it a few cranks of pepper from a pepper mill. Mix that up, and then this goes into the refrigerator for about an hour before you eat it, just so let all the flavors marry. And she says it will keep in a lidded container in the refrigerator for up to 3 days. I'm just going to put it in like this before we eat it, and I'll transfer it to a nicer container for serving. But it's just going to go in like this in the refrigerator for 1 hour. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make rose fin apple potatoes with shaved celery, buttermilk, and dill. That's a really long name, and I didn't even have the rose fin apple potatoes because they are apparently very difficult to find, and especially outside of whatever their season is. And so I don't even know where I could maybe find them ever. Sure, a restaurant chef has connections and deals with the farmers and all that. And maybe if I went to the farmer's market, I could do that, but whatever. I used, I think, Yukon Golds instead, which was a fine substitution, which, and she said you can sub your favorite potato and it's fine. So the thing about this recipe, it requires you to slice the celery very thinly. I did not use a mandolin, although she suggests it. I thought it was fine without that. Slicing the potatoes was not all that difficult because those are, you know, not super thin. The thing about this recipe that made it a lot different than a standard potato salad is that the potatoes are cooked with a lot of vinegar, and that gives them a very different texture than the usual potato salad potato texture, which is a little mushier. These tasted a little pickled because of the vinegar and had a crisper texture than usual. Now, I'm not a fan of potato salad, of traditional potato salad. My husband likes it. My kids are, you know, yes or no, depends. Actually, they don't like mushy potatoes at all. My daughter liked this potato salad better than a traditional potato salad, probably because of the texture. I think they don't like a mushy potato texture. So that was, and they like pickles. They like you know, a vinegary flavor, and it wasn't super overpowering, but it was definitely there. So my daughter actually liked it. My husband, who likes traditional potato salad, traditional Southern potato salad, did not like it at all. And because I don't eat a lot of potato salad, we didn't even finish this batch and ended up throwing away the rest of it because it does make a rather large batch. So it was not our favorite recipe. Like I said, I don't like potato salad in general, but I preferred this potato salad to the standard potato salad. So take that, you know, as you will. That's just our perceptions. It was not super difficult. Just like all of these, all of the recipes in the Poole's Diner Cookbook, there are specific techniques that sometimes are, you know, take a little more time than you generally would do in your standard, you know, evening meals. But if you like a potato salad that is a little bit on the, you know, I hate to say elevated potato salad, but, you know, a non-traditional potato salad, I thought it was really good. And I think you should try it if it's something that you think you would like. If you are a super fan of a traditional Southern potato salad, you probably won't like this, and it might not be worth the effort. But it was pretty easy, and I would make it again, but for more people, which we will maybe eventually be able to have more people at a party, at a potluck. I miss those days. Anyway, if you enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and come back and watch me make something else next week.